guy. Fearless Draft is still on the table in 2025.
Fearless Draft is a band-aid for a poorly balanced game.
It's in the draft. It's insane. It's absolutely insane. And this is why I can't wait for Fearless Draft, and this is why I think Fearless Draft is the future of League of Legends, because that will make games exciting.
Same. Well, the good news for you is Fearless exists, otherwise this draft would happen every game on both sides forever.
Riot finally did it. League's competitive scene entered a new era as Riot implemented this new drafting method, the Fearless Draft. 3.4 million peaked views, 600,000 added viewers compared to last year's, and 9 silver scrapes in one tournament. This new format is insane. With a staggering 50 bans by Game 5, everyone was forced to bring out their best champs regardless of the meta. Well, you must have a champion Ocean since this will be the new norm for the rest of the year. Let's dive in. For starters, Full Fearless is a new way of drafting team comps. Game 1 starts with the normal 10 bans, while the team picks their champion. However, by the next game, the previously picked champions will no longer be available in the champion pool. This trend continues as the series goes on, which means by Game 5, a total of 50 champions are banned, 40 from the previously selected, plus 10 more during the banning stage in the draft. And for a game with 171 champions as of today, almost 30% will not be available by the last stage of the series. 2 years ago, when it was hypercarry meta, teams would often just handshake Lucian Nami for Zeri Lulu. These comps took over the professional scene, as every region plays this matchup.
Is going to be, can they do that again? But picking a Vi into a Maokai, I think generally is just not going to feel that great when you try to dive in as well.
In Season 12, patch 12.11 to 12.13, Zeri got a 90% Prio score in draft, while Lucian followed with a 79% Prio score. And despite being played multiple times, Lucian and Zeri have a dominant win rate, especially against other ADCs. They just needed support champs that would boost their full potential. Thus, the birth of Lucian Nami versus Zeri Lulu.
What are you up to on the weekend, Wolf?
Is this real?
I'll cast some more LCK. That's what I like to do on the weekend.
Lucian.
Coincidence?
Nami.
So am I.
Zeri. Lulu.
We got a great weekend planned. Whoa, we're so
Lucian.
insane.
Nami.
Did you like it?
Zeri.
Back in the day?
LS expressed his disappointment since the same matchup was picked globally, despite the patch change and meta evolution. It's hard to blame the teams, because for them, if it ain't broke, why fix it, right? It was clear that Riot must do something. On November the 1st, 2024, Riot finally introduced the answer for the recurring meta picks. No more same matchups and predictable comps, just utter chaos. The League community flooded the tweet, expressing their excitement with this sudden change to the competitive scene. Although I'm sure this will be a nightmare for drafting coaches and players with a meta-reliant champ pool. As regions adapt to the changes, frustrations were evident, especially for pro players. In the match between DK versus HLE at the LCK Cup, Showmaker loses his mind about what to pick next for the matchup. Banned champions were listed on both sides of the screen, pushing the players to bring out something new for the final game. And that's when Kled Mid entered the game. Usually, Kled is hidden counter to some top lane champs, but putting it on the mid lane, oh, that's Fearless Draft for you. The chaos continues as Riot used this trial run of Fearless Draft to their newly added international tournament, the First Stand. First seeds across the regions during the Split 1 are invited to this mayhem. Even though the outcome of the tournament was easy to predict because LCK is too strong, new data broke the stats of the tournament. According to the Sheep Esports, MSI 2024 had 86 unique champions played in 78 games throughout the tournament, whereas in Fast Stand it had 88 unique champions just within 35 games. Imagine if this is a longer tournament. This is the list of every champion that was picked throughout the First Stand. A lot of comps were tested in this first international Fearless Draft. Most of the champions in this list only appear during certain metas, but there's a particular champion in there who made its way to its original role. During the match between HLE and CFO in the group stage, HLE started cooking the draft in Game 2. The casters were shocked when HLE picked Vlad at R4. It had been years since Vlad made its way to the professional game, but little did they know, Vlad was just the appetizer in this draft. After the CFO rounded their comp with Talia Kindred as their mid-jungle duo, HLE brought back Zed in the mid lane. The casters lost their mind with this insta-lock pick. Pro players already put Zed in the jungle, but Zika brought this assassin back to its original home. As the laning phase started, both Midlanders traded heavily, but the early level threat of Zed is still terrifying.
Some nice lanes to work with.
Uh-oh.
Wait a
Honku.
second, he's level 2.
Yeah, that's the Ignite coming on in. He doesn't have Electrocute, but Honku has to flash at level 2. Already Zeka on the Zed pick is forcing summoners in his lane.
Yeah, Ignite for Flash. Best trade every day of the week. Plus, he's going to have the force him back, so it is going to look like an increase in solo queue Zed.
As the Void Grub spawned, both teams positioned for a heavy teamfight, and Zed was unleashed in this long skirmish.
So Peanut did smite away one of the grubs here as they go in for the fight. They're not going to hit all too much, but everybody else groups into the rel. Here comes Doggo from the top side, though. Zeka going in for the dive once. Junja not going to get him just yet. So many low health bars here on the side of CFO, and Peanut is going to get away. Here comes Zeus over the wall, just going to pull the shove, and will not take the damage, but does take the follow-up. 1Q might save him, but it's not going to happen as Honku lives against Zeka, who misses the shuriken. Here comes Doggo, flashing on into a Zed, not scared of anything, but guess what? The R is up, and it's available again! Zeka goes for it again! Gets the kill! And the last auto from Peanut finishes it off!
Oh my goodness, what a chat. Picks the Zed, some fancy plays on the top side.
Both Vlad and Zed have their own spotlight during the teamfight, and Zika just proved that Zed is still viable in mid lane. And if that was not enough to convince anyone, here's a 1v1 solo kill of Zika's Zed in the mid lane. I'm sure we wouldn't be seeing Zed mid if the Fearless draft was not implemented.
The Ignite is coming in, Zeka, one last auto, doesn't need it!
According to esports charts, the peak viewership of the first stand tournament was 1.1 million viewers, which was the grand finals between HLE versus KC. To be honest, it was a huge win, despite the quite low numbers. The tournament itself was supposed to flop, since famous teams like T1, Gen G, BLG and G2 were not in the tournament. But thanks to the Fearless draft, the tournament remained entertaining. Riot also noticed the potential of this new system as they announced that Fearless was here to stay. For the remainder of 2025, starting with Split 2, all regions and international events will be in Fearless draft. Normally, the League community flamed Riot with their decisions, but it seems like almost everyone is on board as they show their support in the thread. A rare W for Riot. Fast forward to the next international event, MSI finally arrived, and this time all of the teams with a wide fanbase will be flying to Canada to fight for the trophy. Not to mention, this tournament also has a double elimination bracket, letting the teams prove themselves instead of becoming a victim of the bracketing. Throughout the tournament, there were 109 unique champs, selected out of 170 champions before Yunara was released. Even Garen was picked for top lane, and it won. It was a staggering 64% selected unique champs in just one tournament. Comparing this stat to MSI 2024, 21 unique champs appeared, since MSI 2024 only has 88 unique champs. Chaos unfolded on the Rift as teams were forced to play different comps throughout the series. And if you thought the tournament would be heavily one-sided for some teams, then you are gravely wrong. This graphic shows the top 3 League international events with the most Game 5s. Worlds 2021 held the record before with 6 Game 5s, but MSI 2025 took the crown with 9 Bow 5 silverscrapes. Starting from the play-ins, Furia took G2 into a Game 5 Fiesta, and then they still showed this incredible resistance when they went up against GAM Esports. While BLG easily cruised towards the playoffs bracket, G2 and GAM went all out for the final spot, creating the third 5-game series in the tournament. How's that for the international opening? During the playoffs bracket, round 1 looks like an easy win for some teams, until CFO surprisingly took T1 into 5 games, which T1 won 3-2. The madness doesn't stop there, as Gen G and Owl meet in round 2, with a 3-2 score in favour of Gen G. At round 3, Gen G and T1 faced each other, as Gen G won again with a 3-2 scoreline. Meanwhile, in the lower bracket, FlyQuest took BLG to 5 games, but ended up losing after a small mistake in the early game.
Oh,
Yeah, North America
Who's near
deserves
airport?
it. Matsu, what are you doing?
What the fuck?
BLG then proceeded to get smacked down by Owl in the next round.
Hello, Vancouver! We are here today to find out who is heading to the MSI Finals. T1 versus AL. Our challengers striving to fight Gen G tomorrow. I'm Azale here subbing in for Dracos.
Contest over this mid-wave begins.
Yeah, he's sitting on 3 charges of his passive, so he can just shield in with his speed, look for the big stun play. The wards are there for T1, but the approach for AL is here.
T1 pulling back out. Carrier just uses heal to swap over to that exhaust, so has it ready for the fight. AL drop the Herald mid and are looking. Tarzan going forward, trying to get some poke down here as T1 forcing the flash out of Tarzan there as Carrier came through with the dredge line. Both teams posturing for position, but it is Faker on the side.
Faker's done a good job of keeping that bot wave push. Kyle goes
gonna go in, and they're trying to turn around the other side. Faker going in with the hero's entrance. Knocks up two. Tarzan in trouble, but is kiting back. Kyle now gonna have to flash out. Guma opens up. Kyle is the target. Can he survive?
The lower finals finally began as LCK's second seed meets LPL's first seed. It was T1 versus Owl. The series went back and forth, both showing that they truly deserve the spot. However, T1 proved that they are LPL's father in this dominant Game 5 ending. And so, Gen G and T1 meet again for the second time in this tournament. We all know LCK did not have finals before heading to MSI, and I guess they just decided to do that in the MSI Grand Finals. Even though Gen G was the clear favourite to win the tournament, T1 proved that they were the same calibre, especially the last time these two titans faced each other. And just like what everyone wanted, this series went into full distance, cementing the 9th silverscrapes in the tournament. Analysing how the draft went, both teams went for different comps in games 1 to 3. T1 took the commanding 2-1 lead, but as the ADC pool got pinched, Gen G pushed for a game 5. Out of all of the roles in the competitive scene, it seems like the ADC role is the target ban in this Grand Finals. There have been 10 total ADC bans during the banning stage, when in fact there are around 20 to 30 viable ADC champs in the bot lane. Of course, depending on what the teams considered as a suitable bot lane carry. The battle between these two titans has been unhinged. They skill check each other every single time. The macro plays were truly punishing, since both of them knew their win condition. In their last draft, no more viable team composition was available for both teams. It's all about comfortable picks now. To be honest, Gen G's draft looked like a solo queue game, while T1's draft has a clear win condition. Dominate the lane, burst someone, and reset. However, Gen G just showed that they were a different beast, as they made their comp work just by their team synergy alone. Gen G took the crown in the first Fearless MSI event. It was a successful event, an absolute cinema, and probably one of the best international events in League history. MSI 2025 peaked at 3.4 million views, which was the Grand Finals T1 versus Gen G. Comparing it to last year's MSI, 2024 only peaked at 2.8 million views, which was lower bracket finals T1 versus BLG. Keep in mind that these two recent MSIs both have lower bracket runs. The only difference was the drafting. With that being said, it's safe to assume that the Fearless draft pushed this year's peak viewership by 600,000 views. Sounds crazy, right? Looking at this graphic, it has always been the World Finals where League fans tuned in. MSI doesn't really enter the list of peak views, and there are several factors for that. 1. MSI is a lot faster compared to Worlds. 2. More teams participate in Worlds. 3. The meta stays the same throughout the tournament, while the meta in Worlds shifts as the tournament goes on. But thanks to this new drafting change, MSI 2025 entered the list of most viewed finals in the League International event. They were just 550,000 behind EDG versus DK. Just by looking at the stats alone, imagine how Worlds 2025 viewership might pop off. But of course, some still believed that Fearless comes with consequences. One of those was this thread about how Fearless will prevent any salty runback draft. For context, Salty Runback is a strategy where the drafting coach believed that their comp was great, but the execution was a mess. As the name implies, the team will run back the same comp, thinking it would work this time. Another drafting aspect that would be removed was the infamous Now It's My Turn, where the players will style on the opposing team using their drafted champ's last game. While most of the viewers loved the entertainment that the Fearless Draft provided, another Reddit post listed a full explanation of what we would miss once the Fearless Draft became the new norm. First on the list, there will be no real meta. Sure, Games 1 and 2, or maybe even Game 3, will be dictated by the strongest champ on the pitch. But since they cannot use the same champs any longer, the teams should not pivot to less prioritised champs. Second on the list, the potential for memorable plays. Remember this Faker's Silas clutch engage?
Clear plus a Ziggs. The reason why this is such a good pairing as the arrow goes wide, but Faker's still here.
Faker looking for that flank, will seal away the quickness from on guess. Oh! Sean flashes in, finds two, equalizer in the back line as well. As Faker is not off this earth, he finds the engage, he finds everything T1 were looking for.
Exceptional play from T1. You think that the play falls short because the arrow doesn't connect, but Faker will find a way.
Yep, that engage would probably have never happened if Fearless was already implemented during Worlds 2024. Looking at this draft during the Worlds finals, Knight already picked Silas at Game 1, and even if he didn't, Faker chose Silas in Game 2. The same thing can be said about Faker's Galio at Game 5, since Knight already picked Galio in Game 2. To be perfectly honest, this Reddit post actually has a solid point. Teams will now only have a single shot to use a champ to the best of its ability. They might not even get the chance if the opposing team has already picked your main. Plays like this will be limited in the future, since there won't be any other chances throughout the series.
It is very tough not to have the cleanse.
Saves on the flank.
Saves on the side. TP coming in, Faker looking to make the flank against Ruler. Owner goes in, and again the combos are clean. The hostile takeover is damn well hostile. T1 looking to leave no survivors alive. 369 admits the entire team will get absolutely nothing. T1 in the clutch are too damn clean. Baker predicts Ruler's flash. He gets there first. He catches him with the ultimate lead.
As of now, the mentioned problems have not yet been dealt with, or at least not that big of a deal. As Riot embraces the chaos that Fearless Draft brings, the viewership begins to pump up across regions. This begs the question of whether Fearless Draft is good for the long run for the league's competitive scene. No more same champs, no more iconic picks for players, just pure chaos in the Rift. It's definitely fun for the viewers, and some pro players also loved playing new champs. Of all the topics we discussed, do you think Fearless Draft saved the league's professional scene? Let us know in the comments. If you want more topics like this, click the like button and make sure to subscribe. Stay tuned for next week's video, where we go over the Ardent Sensor meta and how one item held League of Legends hostage.